I am here with Adam. He works for Malone. And how many Malone trailers have you built?
At least a couple hundred.
Couple hundred. So there is nobody on the face of this planet who's built more trailers than Adam. And so he's going to walk you through the tools you're going to need for this. He's going to walk you through just really how to build this in a way it's going to save you a lot of time and heartache. So I think we're going to start with the tools, right?
Yeah. So I always like to have an impact drill. That's going to speed things up quite a bit versus having two ratchets.
Oh yeah, I built a couple of these. If you do it just ratchets alone, you're going to regret that decision. So definitely find yourself an impact drill. If you don't have one of those, you can rent them at tool stores. You definitely don't want to build this trailer with just ratchets.
So what you're going to need is a 9/16 wrench and a 3/4 inch wrench and socket, rubber mallet, torque wrench for tightening the wheels down.
And a torque wrench isn't something someone usually has. They're expensive, right? Also something you can rent for like 20 bucks at maybe Home Depot or Lowe's. But likely also you'll probably be able to get one for free. Just sign it out at a local parts store. Why the mallet? I built two of these and I never used the mallet. What do you use that for?
Just to tap the end caps on.
Oh, nice. So I'm looking over here. This is what's going to get delivered to your house, correct? So when you order one of these, if you're thinking about ordering one of these, this is how it comes. So what are we looking at, like 10 boxes here? 9 boxes?
The base trailer is 7 boxes and then comes on a pallet.
So let me help you open these boxes up and let's get the parts out and I will have you walk us through so we don't make any mistakes along the way. One of the biggest issues I had is I never actually wanted to tighten everything up because I was afraid I was making a mistake. So we're going to help you avoid that. Also, something to remember, we're going to be building this upside down at first, and then halfway through the build, we are going to flip it over and finish it. So we got a lot of cross members out of the box, and so what are you doing here?
I like to line up all my cross members on the table and then install the side rails. You'll notice that these two cross members face each other, and that's for accessories in the future if you'd like to install a drawer or basket.
In fact, there's one right over here. This is the wire basket, right? And this is the drawer that would get utilized by this area. And so I know because I put one of these together, you put rollers in here and this thing rolls out and you get that aluminum plated drawer that goes right here. But if you're not upgrading and you wonder why this one's backwards, that is why. All right, Adam, so you say you like on the table right here to grab the parts number 11412 because this is what you're gonna be putting this together with. So go and crack those open, right?
Yep.
So really what you're looking at, all of these are the same size, all your hex bolts, except for these ones, these are your long ones, your backing plates, some washers, and these are all the same as well. So if you're wondering if there's different sizes in there, there is not. First up, what's you got going on?
All right, we'll put the shorter hex bolts in the top and bottom of the frame all the way around. Put them on hand tight and then you can go back through with the drill.
So whenever I was putting this together, I was nervous, but the instructions, if you're following along here, it's going to show you where these cross members actually go so you can measure it out and not be afraid that you're putting it in the wrong place and you're going to have to take it all apart. So you're basically just measuring this out and putting these all in.
This up 15 and 5. Guess this goes way over here.
We're gonna reach into box 535-5 and get your leaf spring brackets. I was a little confused on this, took me a minute. The photos and the instructions, I finally figured it out, but walk us through essentially what we're looking at here.
Well, they only line up really on 2 holes here. So you have your slipper bracket and your eyelet bracket. Your eyelet bracket's gonna go up front and your slipper bracket is towards the rear. And they'll use the same hex bolts and nuts to attach them. All right, we'll open up this light kit here that came in with the wheels.
DOT approved and Transport Canada approved. Did I get that right?
Yep. Here's the wires that we're going to put through the trailer tongue.
So it's going to go through this bar right here. And you don't need a line puller or anything. You just slide it through.
I just slide it right through.
Makes it easy.
Yep.
So essentially we're taking the male end and we're putting it into the end where the 2 holes closest to the end here. And as you'll see on the other side, there's 2 holes down here, but they're not close to the end.
So it usually slides right out.
The way that you'll know this is right side up, obviously we're going to be flipping this trailer over to do the complete rest of the build, but it's easy to build upside down first. So you're going to make sure this sticker is upside down when you're building it.
Install this bolt on the end of the tongue. It's kind of a tongue stop bolt so that it can't slide out on you.
So it's not going into anything. It's really just keeping it from moving forward. Going back to the long box, grabbing the side rails.
Yeah, so this is going to be your lower side rail. It'll be installed right about here.
Once again, Malone sticker upside down.
So what you want to do is use this bolt. That's why we hand tightened them, so that we could go right through here to install this lower side member. And then the second bolt right up here.
So now we have 2 more holes right here. However, this is where you're going to break out your washers, because I believe on all Malone trailers, anytime you have oval holes, like you see here and here, you're going to put a washer on it.
Correct. Then you slide your tongue up to this second cross member, and we pull out these plates and bolts to attach the tongue to the frame. Repeat this right here.
All right, so why are you putting the bolts
I think because
upside down?
on this one I put it this way so that the nuts are facing downward. It just a little cosmetically looks better.
Because you got to remember, we're flipping this over in a little bit to finish the build.
There we go.
So don't freak out if you have a few extra parts, because
There's the three hex bolts and 3 nylon nuts are left over when you put the frame together.
there you go. So in case you happen to drop one, can't find it, or whatever it is, I know I dropped a few parts and they go flying someplace. No big deal, you're gonna have 3 extras. You are not missing anything.
So I like to square up the trailer at this step before we tighten everything down. So you just want to measure from one corner to the other to see if you can get it nice and square.
It's always nice to do this build with a buddy,
Go right on that.
unless you're Adam and you can build them and people just get in your way, like me. Does it kind of square itself?
It
It
does.
doesn't look like there's a ton of movement.
No, there isn't. It does kind of square itself up, especially once you tighten everything down.
Right.
It's good.
Good. All right, break out the power tools.
Next, you'll grab your 9/16 socket and wrench, and we'll go around and tighten everything up.
So a couple things here. There's a trick you can do, but if you have a 90-degree ratchet, this is what you want to use here. Obviously, that's not something a lot of people have. It's kind of a specialty tool. But don't worry, because you got a little hack. Look at that. Wish I would have known that when I built mine. I was over here ratcheting it with my hand like an idiot. All right, Adam, you're out of hardware, so now we need to get bag 11412-1. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right, looks familiar. This is going to be our leaf springs, correct?
This is for our leaf springs.
All right, head over to your long box. One right there. One right there. Pretty easy. Make sure that's slid in first, or you're going to tighten it up and have to untighten it to get it in.
So you'll notice that the lug nuts are in here, and also 2 nylon nuts. And the 2 nylon nuts you're going to use to attach the leaf springs, and the lug nuts are for your wheels.
Yes, and you'll know the difference because these are tapered. Next up, the axle. So real quick, those have knobs on the other side. I didn't see those, right?
Correct. Yep.
So it's kind of hard to get those wrong because they're going to sit nicely into those knobs. Grab your backing plates and your U-bolts. Why is this going so much easier when you're doing it than when I was doing it?
Experience.
Experience. Same on the other side.
Did you have any issues when you were building your MegaSport?
You know, the thing that slowed me down the most was kind of just deducing from the instruction manual. Like, I didn't want to tighten down a nylon nut only to have to undo my work. And so I was almost double, triple, guessing myself because I was afraid that I was going to have to undo a ton of stuff because I made a mistake early on in the process. So this is why this video is just like money. Yeah. All right, so what do we got here?
9/16 again. We'll
right.
tighten up these U-bolts. You want to make sure you tighten them pretty evenly. You don't want to be off.
We are down to the lug nuts, which means time for the wheels.
The wheels.
These are beefy.
Yeah.
I have the Eco Lights. These things are massive compared to those.
Make sure you use the tapered side towards the wheel.
And tire number 2.
Next, you'll grab your 13/16 socket. So once we flip the trailer over, we'll torque the wheels down so that we know
Got
they're
it.
real
So you're
tight.
just trying to tighten these up just a little bit.
Yep.
All right, it is team lift time. And so essentially, you don't want to do this by yourself. It's really heavy. Don't want to hurt yourself. So grab a friend. We're just going to flip this off the side of the table and then flip it over.
Yeah.
All right, where do you want me? You've done this more than I have.
So you stay up there. We'll hit the wheel on the ground and then roll it over.
Got it. Just going to slide it off the side. There we go. Now we're grabbing your L brackets, your mini bag of 11468, and then your box full of all of your, that's your license plate holder, side lights, rear lights. And so what are you going to install first?
I'm gonna put the taillight brackets on first. All right, we got the taillight bracket and a carriage bolt. So we'll just put the bolt through and the nut on the back side.
Do that on both sides.
We'll grab the 9/16 again.
Awesome.
We'll tighten these right up. Next, we'll grab our driver's side tail light, and it has clear bottom on it for the license plate. Find the nuts are already on the studs. Feed the wires through the hole. And this way, we'll light up your license plate.
Boom. This is going on the driver's side.
Driver's side.
The hole here, you don't run these wires out, you let them sit out the bottom?
Correct.
Got
It's a universal bracket.
Got it.
Feed the wires right through this side hole.
Got it. Stick out there. We'll connect those in a little bit.
Side markers on.
We head to the part of the frame right here in this 5-hole pattern. Oh, wires in the bottom right. All right. All right, this is going to be the last big wire kit in the box. We use the first one to run through the tongue, and this is going to be for the rest of the frame.
Correct, yeah.
All right.
We'll run this, the yellow on the driver's side.
There you go. Good to know.
And green goes passenger side.
All right. Another thing I didn't know when I was putting mine together.
What you want to do is feed these through the hole along the side rail.
You have to do them one by one, right?
You do.
They all won't fit in at the same time.
Correct.
And don't worry, folks, it comes with clips. We're going to be able to clip this and make it nice and clean. And of course, you just match all the colors, push it as tight as you can, and those are going to be waterproof.
Yeah, what's great about this is just plug and play.
Yeah, easy. I felt proud when I was putting mine together, and my wife's like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just got done wiring the trailer." Like I knew what I was doing. I was just pushing things together.
Also plug in your side markers here.
Boom. One side done.
The wire coming out of the tongue, you'll plug into this.
If I remember correctly, you're grabbing some clips to
Yeah.
manage these wires a bit. So a rubber mallet comes in handy.
Yes.
So you're going to notice on these, they have a bite on the top right there. You can see it. So that's what's going to go in the metal frame, keep it, and then the top is going to be what manages your cables. So you probably know better placement than I. Do you have a system? Because how many are there? Do you want to use like 2 back here and 1 for each section, or how's that work?
Got 10 clips here. You want to use 5 on
So you're gonna
each
put
side. Yeah, I think I usually do 2 here.
Okay.
And then everything else pretty much stays pretty tight.
Yeah. It doesn't have a lot of places to go. You kind of want it, imagine, down here. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple down here.
2 on the long side. Boom. And now just tuck these in. Easy. Easy as Sunday morning.
So you see you have these extra pigtails here. This is for accessories in case you want to install a light or anything else.
Okay. Did not know about that. Because there's also up there I didn't use either. Is that something Department of Transportation Canada that requires those extra
Those
pigtails?
2 pigtails up front are for a Canadian light kit.
Okay.
You could do a charging station up here, maybe LED lights, or
They're capped off, and so don't worry about those getting wet. What do we got next?
we should tighten those lights down. Grab a 10mm and tighten these up.
Next up, we need to grab bag 11464. It's going to be the hardware you need, your 4 L brackets, and your 2 fenders. I like seeing all these packages disappear. It feels a little overwhelming at first. However, once you start getting into it, you're like, oh man, I'm further along than I thought.
In this kit, you'll notice you'll have some slotted bolts.
For the top of the fender.
For the top of the fender, and some hex bolts to install.
Attach to the frame. So you really can't install these the wrong way, right?
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're using the button tops. Yep. For the fenders here. So don't forget that. Do the same thing on the other side.
And again, we'll grab our 9/16 and a flathead screwdriver, and we'll tighten these up. Next, you'll grab the hex bolts, washers, and nuts, and install the fender in these oval holes. Use the top hole on the bracket. And this is where we'll put the washer on the inside.
That's it. Even though there's 4 holes, you only use 2 of them.
Then we'll tighten it down with the 9/16.
All right. Fender's done. Adam, looks like we forgot to tighten something up.
Yeah, can't forget to tighten these ones. You want to use your 3/4 inch wrench and socket.
You don't want that to be like uber tight because this has got to move, right?
Yeah. You don't want to crimp that down and over tighten it for sure.
Got
it can be over tightened.
What are some of the like common mistakes that people make when building Malone trailers?
Mixing up the lug nut with the nylon nut.
Yeah.
Making sure you use the right bolts in the right places. All right. So you grab the coupler and handle.
Those were in this long box with the load bars, and then your hardware. What number is that?
Hardware bag 11494.
There you go. Grab that one. Let's go put this coupler on. This is where it starts to get exciting, right? It's starting to look like a trailer. We got our safety chains. Do you like to lift this up on like a bucket or anything, or you just build it as is?
I usually build it as is, and I lift this up onto the skid plate.
There you go. Excellent. So there's going to be a place for this to slot in, and then you got it. All right.
And we'll grab our hex bolt, washer.
The only one of that size, so it's going to be hard to mess that one up.
Get both safety chains.
So washer, safety chain, washer, nylon nut after you put it through the tongue. There you go. So you can either pick this up and do this, or you can put a bucket down here, but nonetheless, you seem like you've done this. Done this a few times. All right, so lift handle into the coupler, into the frame. Outside there's a big nylon nut. Do that twice. Grabbing the 3/4 inch.
3/4 inch wrench and socket. I'll tighten this coupler right on.
All right, Adam, so we entered to a part of the build where, depending on what you're going to do with your trailer as far as accessories or upgrades, or if you're building maybe the overland tent trailer, you're going to use different parts here. So explain what we're looking at.
What you have here is your load bar support tubes. So you could have your crossbars much higher with this support tube, or you could have them lower for the low bed.
You would be using these ones right here if you need more clearance, right, to get over a lot of your accessories. If you don't plan on using any accessories and want, you know, a lower bed to wet launch your trailer, you'll be using these. So for the sake of this build, we're going to be using these. And you want bag number 11412-2.
All right, we'll grab one of these U-bolts up right here. 2 nylon nuts. These ones are going to go right in this little corner here.
Yeah, I was wondering about the placement on those.
A little tricky to get this nut on here. But with an open end wrench, you should be no problem. Got the 9/16 again.
Yep.
We'll tighten these uprights. Make sure not to over tighten and crush the tube.
Oh, it's going to take you a second.
Yeah.
Is there a power tool out there that would do this if you had it?
If you had a ratcheting one, you wouldn't be able to pull it out afterwards.
Right.
So
Makes
you kind of
sense.
have to do the open end. All right, next we'll install these end caps on these uprights.
Easy. Go grab your rubber mallet. Oh, you don't need a rubber mallet. You're just pushing them in.
Yeah, on
And
this
you got
one.
your shirt. So satisfying.
Right.
Boom.
Boom.
All right.
And then we'll install the cross rails.
Yeah, let's go grab those.
There's your rails. Put them on the table here. We'll put our D-rings on.
Oh, you put those on beforehand.
Yeah.
All right, put them on afterwards.
Inside that hardware bag, 11412-2, was 2 smaller bags with your D-rings and your hardware. So mount the D-rings. On these, you're going to use a hex bolt, washer, D-ring, and the nut. The trick to this is slide the nut in to your hole and screw it right in.
There you go.
And then afterwards, you'll take your 9/16 wrench, open in, right in there. Do the same thing on the other side. So we added this washer on the outside here to give you the clearance to get your wrench out after tightening.
And there you go.
Plenty of room to get that out.
So, D-ring's on.
D-ring's on. And this is where put the end caps on with the rubber mallet.
How many times have you nailed your finger?
Enough.
No fingers were harmed in the making of this video.
We'll use these brackets to attach the cross rails to our upright.
Oh, so that doesn't go through anything. It just sits on top of there.
It's on top.
Nice.
Then you want to center your rail on here. So we want to measure our rails to about 20 3/4 of an inch from the upright here. Make sure it's even on either side. And then we tighten it up. Front rail to the same.
Load bars installed.
So next we'll install the hand crank jack stand.
I mean, not a lot of parts.
To it. No.
Makes it easy.
Put the wheel on here.
There you go. If you're wondering where that part was, it's already installed.
Put the handle on here.
Already some pre-assembly on this one.
Yeah, not too bad. So you grab your 3/4 inch socket and wrench, tighten this wheel up, make sure you don't over tighten it. Then you grab 11/16 and a hex wrench and tighten this one on.
So when it comes to the placement of the jack stand, where do you want it on the tongue? What do you got to take in consideration?
Typically put it at about 24 inches back from the front here. Keep an eye out, you might mount your spare tire up here. Well, make sure you have plenty of clearance for that. Got it one-handed. Then we grab our 9/16 again. We'll tighten these right up.
All right, boss. This seems like a lot of parts here. What we got going on?
Does look like a lot, but what we have is 8 of the shorter hex bolts that you kind of want to set aside because we're going to use those in a certain place. But all the rest of the bolts are the same length here.
So these are going to be 2.5 inch, and these are 2 1/4. So they're not off by much. And we'll show you later, but these are going through 2 plates. These are only be going through 1 plate, and that's why you got a little bit less length. So what are we going to do first?
Line up a couple of these plates and start putting some bolts in.
Off the side of a table makes it real easy.
Yeah. Just throw bolts in all the holes.
Real quick, I don't know if people can see it, but you got 2 plates right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Plates. Bolt some nuts on ahead of time, and we can tighten them all up once we get it all on the trailer. So you notice I skipped these 2 holes and these 4 holes.
I was wondering what you were doing. Skip these 2, skip these 4. All right.
Those 4. That way we could drop this right on top of here. Make sure not to pinch your wires.
That's another reason you don't need 2 clips right there. That's going to hold your wires in.
And we'll put the bolts on the bottom.
Why'd you skip these 2? I'm trying to figure that out.
Once we put the uprights in,
Yep.
there's a bolt that goes straight through.
Ah, there you go. You're going to do the same pattern?
Yeah, we'll do the same thing for the back
All right.
plates.
So here's where most of your nuts and bolts are going to go. So that big overwhelming pile Now it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Now, do you put your vertical bars in here before you tighten them up?
Yeah, next we'll put in the vertical bars. Pull out all these bars so you can see what we got. Then you'll have 4 the same length, and those are your 4 uprights.
Got it. If you install them wrong, you can, because some got 2 holes and the other side only has 1. So you're putting the
single hole down.
There you go. There's the placement. Drop her in. You can see it lands right down there, and it's going to line up with this hole right here. The same on the other side. We're not using the short ones yet.
No, not yet.
So we got all the bolts in here. Now should we go ahead and tighten these up?
I like to leave everything loose and tighten them all up at the end. That way you have a little bit of play and you can maneuver things around a little.
All right, let's do it.
Next, we're going to grab this longest bar here. We're going to attach it to the back here.
Got it. If I remember correctly, this doesn't attach on top. He's going to be moving it off to the side here. And this is the composition, how this goes on. Let me get to your other side here.
This bracket on between.
Bolts, brackets, square tubing, and there you go. Excellent. Same thing on the other side. All right, and this is key. Before you put another bolt on the inside here, this is where you break out one of you 2 1/4. Use your short ones.
The longer one, 2 1/2, because we're going through 2 brackets.
Yep.
And we'll grab our second long bar here. Do the same thing.
Make sure you have it correct.
Next, you'll grab this shorter cross member, and we're going to attach this plate and then attach to these 2 nuts that we've already attached previously.
So I'll have to pull these up and put them back down over top of that. Do we put a washer on that? Do you know?
Nope.
Okay, no washer.
No washer.
And then this will go up here, and we'll put a long bolt all the way through here, and then we'll attach this like we did the other side.
This is where we're going to use 2 of the shorter bolts.
There you go. You should have 10 total of the short bolts, correct?
Correct.
Right. Just want to hand tighten these. You want to give yourself as much play as possible to get everything to fit in before you tighten it down.
We'll have to loosen these 2 bolts under here.
Hand tighten down here. I'm going to come up here. You have 1 more long one, right?
Yes,
Yep,
this is our last
last.
long bolt.
We got 2 big washers. They're going to go on either side of these bars here. Oh no, you know where that landed?
Yeah. The worst spot.
Oh no. You need a magnet to grab that. So don't do this. All right, so what happened there, Adam?
Oh, this
Drop a washer down there? Which, by the way, you have to take the entire thing apart, these 4 bolts to get it out, so that was fun. All right, back to business.
Back to business. Put this bolt through this bracket.
All right, bracket first.
And then
Fat washer.
fat washer.
Support bar. And this is the longest bolt you have, correct?
Yes,
Got
there's
it.
only one.
You'll have, there's only one of them. You'll have another long one left, but it's not as long as this one. You're going through everything. And 1 more bracket.
Just like that. And then this one is going to go here.
All right.
Put a nut on there.
So just like the other side.
Just like the other side.
This is going to be the short one, right?
Yes. This one goes through everything.
All right.
And that's what it looks like when it's all done. You got your 2 fat washers in there. Real long bolt. Longer bolt.
Short
And
bolt.
the shortest bolts. And then you got your 9/16 wrench and socket, and go ahead and tighten everything up.
Go to town. Yeah, be careful not, you don't want to crush these bars, right?
Yeah,
Got
don't
it.
over tighten. Now you can definitely crush the tube. Next, we're going to attach these bolts onto the cross beam up there.
You can do a little pre-assembly here. So use your long ones.
The longer bolts here. We're going to save those last 4 short bolts to mount the cross rails on.
Okay, great.
But by hand, you can put these brackets together.
And hold off on the third so you can wrap it around the beam.
Right on the beam. Right on there. There's 1 of 4. We're going to do that 3 more times. This one will face that way, the front one will face the other way.
Got it.
Here's your last bracket. I always tighten these nylon nuts as tight as I can get by hand so they don't rattle off when
Run the impact.
running the big drill, yeah.
Makes sense. Now, is there a distance these need to be apart from each other?
Depends on what you're mounting up there. You
Yeah.
might want them closer together if you're putting a cargo box up there.
Got it.
Might need it further apart if you're putting a tent up there.
Okay.
Depends on what you're putting up there.
We're putting a tent, so we're going to get those specifications for you guys in a little bit. So we'll get the load bars up, and we won't tighten it up until we get our tent dimensions. Right?
Sounds good?
All right, let's do it. D-ring time. Just like before, right?
Yeah, just like the cross rails. We'll put these D-rings on.
Same thing we did last time. There you go. Just make sure that you guys are bolting those on. These are hanging off the same side as down there.
Mount them. About there. Usually put it for the D-rings are facing inward.
Any reason for that, or you just like it that
No,
way?
just cosmetic.
Cosmetic.
Now we'll mount the crossbars on here. This is an oval hole, so we're going to use our washers. The last 4 short bolts and the 4 washers. These right on here.
There you go. We'll do the same on the back. We're going to be putting the Nature Nest Series 1 Plus tent on here. And so the gap you're going to need between these bars, what is it, 44, 40?
In between 40 and...
Yep. So you can see the placement. We're going to go ahead and tighten these up a little bit. And then eventually we'll start putting on the accessories.
The very last step is to put a bunch of end caps
All
on.
right.
Yeah, these smaller ones are definitely a little tricky. But if you get it started without pinching your finger.
Thumb torque to get on there. Come on. There we go. Bro, is that it?
That is it.
That's it. Come on.
The whole
Victory is
MegaSport
ours.
LowBed.
All right, guys, we finished up the Malone LowBed MegaSport. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you have someone who actually knows what they're doing. So if you have a question about something that we did or didn't do and you're scratching your head, go and throw that down in the comment section and we'll make sure that Malone gets in there and answers it with some authority. Thanks you guys for watching. You guys have a good one.